summer wind came blowing in from across the sea. It lingered there to touch your hair. Walk with me. All summer long we sang a song. Excuse me. And stroll that golden sand. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Oh, Wolverine's in, and Timothy just got an ad. Yeah, I have them turned on this one. Typically, excuse me, typically these streams don't go down the psychotic rabbit hole too much, so I turn them on this one. Lix is here, and Rerum Trading, Callum's in, Madara Uchiha. Hey, perfect, Madara's in here right after I posted that video about him. Jetflyer Luis, Nicholas is in, ZOMG Ruler, Saul, Zuchen, Lachlan, Isaac's back. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. The Thief, Random Alien from Mars, Badlands, ZOMG Ruler. Good. Well, seems like, hey, our good friend Susan might be sending out some notifications here or there. And for any of you who are channel members, I did just post in the community tab. I just gave you guys a new posting, a new thread to put your reaction recommendations in. Hey, Jay the Real McCoy says, what's a scary movie you've seen that you found hilarious? You know what always strikes me as soon as that type of question comes up? Now I got to get the title for you, Jay. American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London had some really good humor. I mean, we're going way back. It was scary. I mean, for the time, when the characters would turn into the werewolves, I mean, it was really well done. Hell, it still holds up today. Some great transformations, but the funny elements of it were really funny. Now, unless you mean a scary movie that I found unintentionally hilarious, one of the slasher ones. I couldn't even be specific. Then it would be just one of the ones where, you just crossed over into, like, you put the axe in this otherwise this human's face, and then 2 scenes later he's up and running around and chasing everybody again and shit. Those just make me laugh. Since we can ask anything, what's your bra size? I can answer it for you again. You asked me that once before. It's nothing to get excited about. It's it's decent. It's a decent rack. Willie says, censored right as I need to leave. Oh, sorry to hear that, Willie. Ah, crap. Sorry you can't stay in, pal. And Jill is here. She says, hey, Curtis, I had a bad day yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry. My car got towed for illegal parking. And I have to commute to my work. Oh, that sucks. There's an area where they towed it instead of just ticketing it. That's a bitch, because usually those freaking fees to get it out of the impound yard and everything suck. I'm sorry to hear that. That's, oh, shit. Visionary says, do you think that we need to regulate the investigative agencies in the U.S., like the FBI, CIA, etc.? After the raid on Trump, I feel like there may finally be an opportunity. I don't think we need to regulate them. I do think that existing regulations need to be followed. I'm not saying they weren't in this instance, but things have become so hyper political now. You often wonder if it isn't just if what we just saw take place at any time is just political maneuverings rather than legitimate concerns. So I think we have the regulations in place, just a matter of whether or not they are they pay any attention to them. Hey, Madman, good to see you again, pal. You read the manga Berserk? It's a must. No, I haven't read the manga. I don't get any time for reading. But I've seen the anime, but no, I haven't read the manga. Jeez, this has been a rough time for the gang here. Barry says, got into a car wreck yesterday on my way to Texas Roadhouse. Made it okay, but pissed I didn't get my Texas Roadhouse. Yeah, really, I'm with you, pal. I completely understand that. If I'm on my way to get food and something inconvenient ruins it, like freaking car accident, that's what I'm going to be pissed about, is I didn't eat. The thesis, Curtis, are you still into anime? I'm actually curious. It's I don't know. I don't know if you're being genuine or yes, I am. I watched 5 anime episodes so far today, and posted 2 anime related videos on top of that to the YouTube channel. Will says, if you have sex with yourself from an alternate world, is it masturbation or incest? Semantics. All we care is it's fun. It was a good, everybody had a good time. Who cares what you want to call it? Have them bring the cinnamon butter and bread rolls to the ER. Yeah, you got to go. Really? Yeah, good call. Jill says, but that won't stop me from making my day great today. I'm here to comfort with the gang. Well, that's the attitude to have, Jill. I like that. Code says, briefs or boxer briefs? Usually briefs. I don't like the boxer briefs much. Just not as comfortable. Johnny says, watching fragile old white fucks like Kennedy cry was great entertainment. Well, you guys know where I stand on this stuff. I try not to jump off ledges. Let's wait and see, let's let it play out a little bit. Was there actual legitimate cause? Does it sit, or will it be a case of, it seems like it was really flimsy cause, but it got pushed along for political expediency? We don't know yet. And again, no matter which way I lean, I think and you see it all over on both sides now, because obviously all the experts on Twitter already know exactly what happened, what was legal, what wasn't legal, so on and so forth. I don't talk too much about this or give opinions on stuff like this until we know a little something more. Wolverine says, I have an announcement. Anime titties. That is all. That is a quality announcement and always needed. Barry says, worst part is that the lady that hit me has Geico, and even though it's not my fault, they'll fight tooth and nail to make sure it is. Well, hopefully I'm hoping you got a police report. That's what you really need. Hopefully she got ticketed. Then they got no chance. Of course, Zuchen, have you heard of monkeypox? Yeah. Seems to be really ravaging the gay community right now. Jay says, hey, Curtis, I have a question for you. Which character do you prefer, Carl from Llamas with Hats or Krillin from DBZA? Well, I don't think you can really put those two against one another just because they come from such different worlds. I mean, in Llamas with Hats, Carl's a great character, and DBZA, Krillin's a great character. It's impossible to say I prefer one over the other because they have nothing to do with each other. Science Man says, if I put a Bleach manga in the blender and drank it, would you say I drank Bleach? We could say that. And anybody that debates it with you, that tries to say that you didn't, is just incorrect. I've not seen Sons of Anarchy, Mortem. I remember when it came out, that was the series about the bikers, right? I remember when it came out, and I saw a lot of promotional material for it, but no, I've never seen the series itself. Hey, Jetfire. He says, speaking of Trump, do you think Trump is really some fascist leader who is trying to overthrow free government and such? Or do you think he's just some egotistical, censored with some obsessed extremist followers? The latter. Just my opinion. I've said all along, because you guys know that even though I voted for Trump twice, I've never liked the man. And what Jetfire has outlined here is largely why. He's an egomaniac. And I don't find him to be a particularly bright egomaniac at that. So I think his ego, this is just my opinion, his ego could not accept losing that election, and he would do anything he could to somehow try and change that. And as you said, he has some real extremist followers that took it to extreme lengths. They weren't coordinated enough to actually, for me, to be seen as trying to overthrow the government. They were just a bunch of extremist lunatics who had a field day. Because, I mean, if you're legitimately trying to overthrow the government, you would have had a plan in place. You would have been looking to take hostages or hold the building down or something like that. They were in there taking selfies and, sitting at Pelosi's desk and shit. It was just a bunch of yahoos. But that's just my opinion. Tsunami says, why is that the conservative? It's not really necessary if we're going to talk politics, to go into just calling each other names. Call the leftoids crybabies, but last night they cried because they were going to. I mean, it's just not necessary, Tsunami. Well, of course they're crying today. Because, again, we talked about there are a lot of extremists that follow Trump. Now, as far as his comeuppance, let's wait and see. Because on either side, when you determine an outcome in the very early stages of anything like this, you're just setting yourself up to potentially have to eat your own words. So I'm just taking a wait and see. If everything was done by the books, there's got to be something there, because you had a federal judge sign off on a search warrant. So if there wasn't any, and unfortunately it's become a time in America now where you have to wonder about these things. If there wasn't just any external political push and it all went by the books, you got to have some pretty hefty stuff for a federal judge to sign off on a search warrant on an ex-president. Madmint says, I used to tell a joke about Jonestown, but the punchline took too long. Punchline. I'm back, everyone. Madmint, I told you guys this before. We talked about how the jokes became a thing at the channel, and specifically the Stephen Hawking jokes. It was Edgar and Madmint who were the ones who actually started that whole thing with jokes rolling here at the channel. Jeez, that was years ago, wasn't it, Madmint? How long ago was that? That you guys were the ones, again, who really got the joke-telling stream started. Yes, correct, Licks. Yes, but the news has got to get them views, so time to hyperbolize it. 100% correct, 100% right. And that's a lot of the problem is and on both sides of the aisle, again, the news agencies have no sense of responsibility anymore, of journalistic integrity. They're going to write or say whatever will generate the most clicks. It's as simple as that. I guess there's a new Dragon Ball Superhero trailer, isn't there, Aaron? Is that what you're talking about? Is there a new one out? I thought somebody had said something about that. If there is, no, I haven't seen it yet. It was 2017, Madman? Holy fuck. 5 years ago already? Wolverine said the same thing. Late 2017, early 20. Wow. God damn, that's actually, that took me aback a little. That's stunning. It's been 5 years already? So I remember that like it was yesterday, because Madman and Edgar were in here just pounding the jokes. And then, of course, everybody else fell in with it too. And wow. Whew, wow. Payam says, I hope I said that right. I'll ask till I get an answer. I can't see every... Again, guys, I can't see every single post. I get to... When I look down, I read whatever I see. But did you put your reactions or do reactions to DBZ? Because I can't find them on Patreon or YouTube except for like 9 episodes. You can't find... No, Dragon Ball Z? No. We started that over... That was just a short time ago. We started doing them over at the channel, and they just, for whatever reason, they just weren't well received. People were just not into them. I think we're going to end up... We have a whole list at all our levels at the Patreon right now of things we're doing. I will probably, at some point, I can't tell you when, I will probably get to Dragon Ball Z on there at some point. There seems to be a lot more interest for it at the Patreon than there was at the YouTube channel. Philip says, Jesus, that means I've been watching this channel for 7. That's fucking insane. It's stunning. I mean, I know it's an old adage, Philip, and I'm sure you'll agree, but it is stunning how fast time goes. Now, that really shocked me when Mad Mint said that. I would have guessed 2019. It's been 5 years already. Wow. Wow. Black Sabbath says, hey, fuck the leftards and conservative fucks. Let's not be fragile here and get hurt because of names. It has nothing to do with being fragile. It just has to do with if you want to have political conversation. Now, if you want to post something like you did, backstabbeth. Backstabbeth. If you want to post something like you did, that's fine. It was said in jest. But what I mean is if people want to have a political conversation, I just don't think those are served well by immediately starting to throw out insults back and forth. Yeah, Pam, that's it. Just I don't know why. I thought that would be a hit over at the YouTube channel, but it really wasn't. Real Crib says favorite character from Death Note. Yeah. Another name's gonna go right out of my head. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, nouns. How I hate nouns because they will not stick. My favorite character, and I can't think of his name. One of you guys will say it. I'm going to wait. You see if I can remember it first, or if you guys will say it for me first. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You just have to guess. And I've said it before, so some of you will know. Ryuk. I thought it. Ryuk is my favorite. I just love the concept that he started all that shit just to be a voyeur. Just for some shits and giggles, because he wanted to see the fallout of what happened. He's a great character. I mean, there are other characters I love in there. I mean, where is he? Which side did I put him on? Oh, he's up on top now. That's right. I keep forgetting. Right over here, as you can see, that's one of my prized finds. So there are other characters. I love him, but Ryuk is my favorite. Jill says, why do we wait all day to eat one meal only? Not me, Jill. I guess you could say I kind of eat one meal a day. It's just that it's continuous all day. They've just started to run together for me now. Zuchan says people in America are getting worse. I don't know. How much worse can we get? Want to know what I saw on TikTok? Sure. And Big says, Curtis, I know you're a baseball fan, but who's your favorite Major League Baseball team? Okay, if I Biggs, I'm assuming you're a baseball fan too. If I tell you, rather than just give you the team name, if I tell you it's one of the worst teams in baseball over the last 40 years, who would you guess? I'll tell you who it is, but let's see if you can come up with it. I don't have numbers. I don't know if over those 40 years their record is the absolute worst, but I do know they have been a record-setting team for abysmal failure within that span. But let's see if Biggs can get Pirates. He knew right away. Yes, I'm a Pirates fan. Barry said it too. Philip says, you know what I think is an untapped genre in anime? Westerns. Shows like Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga was good. Baccano and 91 Days have proven an anime doesn't need to focus on a Japanese historical setting. That's fair. That's very fair. I'm not in general a fan of Westerns, and yet I enjoyed oh God. Now another name's gone out of my head. Western anime. It'll come to me. But yes, anime just handles things differently. It's hard to describe it. It's why I become such a fanatic, such a fan. It just seems like the writing, the execution just has a way of making even genres that normally wouldn't appeal to me very appealing. There's just something about them. Wolf Paul says, do you think China will invade Taiwan? It's possible. I think it's more possible now that since Pelosi stopped over. I think they'll feel more vindicated in doing so. Excuse me. Colton says Iron Sheik or Big Van Vader. Tough one. They're both great heels. I don't know how you mean though, Iron Sheik or Big Van Vader. Ask me who was the better wrestler. Who would I? Okay, let's put it this way: if I could have worked with either one of them, it's still tough. I would have liked to work with Vader because he was known to be stiff, and I liked working stiff. But Iron Sheik probably Iron Sheik. I would have liked to work Iron Sheik. Jetfire says, I had been planning on asking you for some time about what happened to the Go Test reactions, but then you beat me to the punch. Yeah, all they did is change tactic. I got 2 of them in. Now, figure that out. 80 and 81, or 81 and 82 stuck fine. Then 83 and 84, they just kept blocking. No matter how much I edited them, they would just block them. Used to be they would file copyright strikes, and those I could get turned back, and at least the video could stay up. The blocks, YouTube just leaves there. So, Madmint says, I have a lot of trouble with my self-worth. I'm 25 and I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself to find success and purpose. Any advice, old man? Yeah, I mean, and stuff like that, and I get that at 25, especially. You feel like you've got to find your niche, and you've got to start moving forward, and you got to find what it is you want to do with your life. It's not true. You're still a young man. I didn't really know where I ended up wanting to be as far as what I wanted to do for a career and everything until I was 30, 31. You have time. For me, in my life, in situations like that, when you're putting pressure on yourself, I think you're almost sabotaging yourself from achieving it. Rather than putting pressure, you just need to be ultra aware. Do the things you want to do. Always have it in your mind that, hey, if an opportunity arises, I want to check out that avenue. But just allow yourself to find your way, especially at your age. If you're 35, I'd say, okay, it's time to get going. At 25, just let it come to you. It will. It will. You don't need to pressure yourself. Hi, Proxy. Says almost 300K. Nice. Last time I was here, you were watching Prostitute Mickey. Those were so funny. And had like 80K. Nice work. Keep the good work, my friend. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate it. Prostitute Mickey. Those are so good. It's fun when even, there are certain things with all the bizarre shit that we watch on YouTube. We expect to be shocked, if that's even a possibility. But yet somehow it can still do it. As a matter of fact, I'm about to post a video that did it. Fucking Meat Canyon got me again. Meat Canyon is going to do something over the top shocking. And yet what he pulled in this one still got me anyway. But Prostitute Mickey was one too. Now, it's called Prostitute Mickey. I knew it was going to be a little bit edgy, but I never would have expected exactly what we got there. Zeno says, thoughts about anime reborn as a vending machine. I still think, like we were saying, Zeno, I think that's funny. Conceptually, I think that's funny. And I have long since learned to never say can't do it or never say it's a bad idea when it comes to anime, because I have seen so much anime that conceptually seems so silly and ridiculous that ended up being really good. So I would try it. There's no doubt that I would try it. Money Moore says sometimes you just need a good old Steamboat Willie. Indeed. Yes, you do. Oh, okay. Jetfire says, I didn't even know you reacted to episode 83 and 84. Maybe it's about time to move it to the Goosh. I did. I posted them over at the Goosh Flyer. That's all I could do. I remember to put 84 up there. Didn't I, Gooshers? Yeah, I think I know I remembered 83. But it didn't matter how many times I edited it. I would edit and repost, and then they would just block another portion of it. So they just weren't going to let it fly. Jill Snack says, what are your thoughts again on that Naruto trailer? That was amazing. I really liked that. The visuals in that were just insane. That was really, really good. Really well done. The imagery in it, with the way they shot Itachi sitting atop the pole and everything, and really good, Jill. That was a great trailer. If they have other trailers like that, because it seemed to be on their, on their outro, I'll have to check out some more of those. Barry says, "What a time to be a Phillies fan, though. They got the wild card spot without Harper in the roster. Yeah, it's too bad the injuries he's dealt with." Hunter Moss says, "What is your scariest experience while driving?" That one is an easy one for me, Hunter, and it was many, many years ago. Would have been, shit, when did I move? I moved out of Oregon, heading down to New Mexico. I think it would have been 1988. It would have been 1979 or 80. 79 or 80. And, it would have been 80. I was with my ex-wife, and we were driving through the mountains in California, and the mountains in California get vicious, vicious snowstorms. And they had just gotten a bad one. Those mountain roads weave and wind and everything. And I was coming around trying to make a turn, got nothing. The wheels just kept going straight. We were heading right for the edge. There's only guardrails on little individual segments of it, or at least there was at this time. We were heading right over the edge. We're going over the edge of had to be a several 100-foot drop off, and I was pumping the brakes, and I just watched, and I can remember my ex-wife putting her hands against the dashboard and going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," and somehow the car stopped. I have no idea why. It finally stopped sliding and stopped. We were probably 4 feet away from going over the edge. That one's an easy one. Never had anything like that since. Wolverine says, "Did your ex-wife marry your wife's ex-husband?" No, that was different times, different places, entirely different people. PhD Malin says, if Goosh become Hidden Village in Naruto universe, how do you name it? Hello, everyone, by the way. Oh, the Goosh is a hidden village? That would be great. Johnny says, "What a time to be a Bucks fan." Yeah. Jill says, "What's something you tried to cook that didn't turn out right?" Pretty much everything. I am a horrific cook, which is a bad thing for a fat guy. My kids grew up knowing that if my wife was out for any reason, it was McDonald's or Pizza Hut, or at the best, all I could make was Elio's pizza. I'd put some frozen pizzas in. The only thing I taught myself to make, not entirely difficult, was from the time Brax was little, he always loved grilled cheese. And so I'm like, well, he's not going to not be able to have his grilled cheese just because my wife's not home at times. So I taught myself, I hate, you guys know, I despise American cheese. So I am not eating a grilled cheese sandwich ever. But I could make them perfect. Get it to where both sides of the bread were just a nice, perfect golden brown. The cheese had just that little bit of melt on it and everything. And I taught myself to do that for him. But other than that, cannot cook even a little. Even a little. Wolfpaw says, "I can't cook. If you let me cook, I'll be like Caboose and start a fire." Yeah, I'm terrible. Terrible cook. Really? Repugnant Tone says, "Spent the first decade working towards my chef's papers." That's cool. After high school, yeah. I just, no talent for it. It's funny how something like that can, I've always said I don't get it because I am literate. I can read. So I read a recipe. I do exactly what it says, and yet it still turns out like hot steaming shit. And I just don't know why. I agree. Tsunami says Big Van Vader was one of the best monster heels ever. Yeah, it's unfortunate that his WWE, well, at the time WWF, but WWE run got as fucked up as it did. They never used him right. But you're right. As far as a monster heel, he was easily one of the best ever. Wolfpaw says, "Do you think Putin will use nukes in Ukraine if his troops start losing too much ground for his liking?" That's the $1 million question right there. I'm hoping no. I mean, obviously, if you start, using nukes, it just changes everything. I don't think he's far gone enough to do it. And what you do hope is if some of the rumors are true and the guy's dying and just doesn't give a fuck anymore, what you hope for is if he orders it somewhere along the line, somebody's willing to ignore that order, and it will be time for, because there are factions within Russia guaranteed that want to take him down, and hopefully they would be able to. So hey Jeff, that's right. I gotta make some more of those little icon pics. I gotta figure out some new ones. Plus, you guys like Jeff's little star here that the channel members have. Those are tough because you can't really use a picture to make them. That's why they do it with the stars with different colors. I'm gonna see if I can figure something else out to use, but it'll just have to be the same type of thing where it's just a design in different colors. Toker says, I honestly try not to think about the nukes because it's terrifying. That's fair. Jill says, I like this one. That's one of my favorite pictures, Jill. One of the favorite stills I ever took of me and Spaz Kid. Yeah, I love that picture. Jack says, oh, have I seen the videos, The Furry Pit or Furry First Contact? Videos are part of Flash Gets Furry series. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think I've seen them. Zuchen says, I saw on TikTok people were doing a BLM march because a black man got killed by the police. That was the same guy that was shooting a house and almost killed another with two sons that are also. Yeah, that was odd. That was really strange. They were marching. It died out quickly. Well, did you see it? The marches and the protests died out because the lady who was being shot at went out there and screamed at them. What happened was some dude went nuts and was shooting into a house that this woman lived in with her kids, and police snipers ended up taking him out. And you had it wasn't large scale things, but you actually had, they claimed to be BLM affiliated, people out there protesting because the cops killed him. The guy was actively shooting at people right through walls, through windows. And the woman who was being shot at, understandably, came out and went nuts on the protesters. That's what you hope for, Max. Max says, let's just hope the generals will stop listening to Putin's orders and force them out. Right. Hopefully, you get high-ranking military officials, the oligarchs, enough coordination in there to get the guy gone. They say, again, you never know what is true that comes out of there, but they say he's become insanely paranoid, probably with good reason. There are very few people that are even allowed to be within like arm's distance of him and everything. Kyron says, just joined, black man got killed by the police. We're talking about USA. Well, this one, like I say, Kyron, this one was, it was a situation where the police were doing their jobs. They killed him to stop him from killing other people. And it was just bizarre that people ended up in the streets protesting that. But it was, the funny thing about it is, too, it was mostly, because I saw the video, it was mostly like middle-aged white people out there protesting, and I can't wrap my brain around it. And then that woman came out that was being shot at and went nuts on them. Andrew says, not sure if you guys discussed it or not, how you feel about the IRS hiring 80,000 plus employees. I am not a fan. Not anything that makes government bigger, I'm not a fan of. I am for leaving the IRS at its levels or less and simplifying tax code. I think you're absolutely doing the wrong thing. You're just adding more employees, which will in turn just allow government to add more hoops to the tax code. Just simplify things on business and personal levels. Simplify it all. Limit what you can take for deductions. Even if you don't go so far as a flat tax, there are a lot of ways you can make the entire tax code much simpler, much easier to understand for everybody, for the common person. And instead, we'll just hire more IRS agents to keep plowing through these ridiculous messes that they create. Wolfhouse says, I don't have anything against Russia or people or its troops. I just hate its government. Exactly. Right. Exactly. True. Did that actually happen to Real Crib? I had heard something about that. I didn't see the reports. Real Crib says, any thoughts on KD demanding the Nets to choose either him or the coach, Nash? I hadn't heard. I didn't know that really took place. I mean, if so, he's a veteran superstar in the league. If he doesn't want to play for Steve Nash, I mean, he's got that right. It might seem like a dick thing to do, but if he's saying, I'm not staying here, I don't want to play for this guy, so I need to know, is he staying too? I kind of get it. Again, might be a dick move, maybe not, but he's trying to take care of himself. Jill says, how do I entertain my niece at home in the nicest way? I don't know. It depends on how old she is. Video games are always a good idea. Movies. Go out. What we do a lot of times, we'll get the kids, when we would have the kids over, is find, when they were younger, find some good movies to stream, and I would take a run to the movie theater and buy some of the real movie popcorn, and I'll sit down and eat it, something like that. Mr. Papa Veraccia, good to see you again, pal. Ask anything, like anything, like anything. What is the funniest experience I've had while driving, Hunter? Ooh, I don't know. Funniest. I don't know. I don't know what the funniest would be. No, nothing comes to mind. One of the freakiest, I mean, not scariest, I told you scariest, although it was scary, but one of the most bizarre things was when I did live in New Mexico. I was driving home from work one day, and big open fields. It's down in the Roswell area. There's a lot of big open field areas. And a storm came rolling through, just one of these quick little passing storms, and I had a bolt of lightning land in a field, had to be within 20, 25 feet of my car, just off the road. I mean, the whole ground shook. It was freaking amazing, the weird feeling it gave you when it hit. But I don't know about funniest. Code says KD is so full of himself. That's true. Always has been. Definitely. I'm a fan, and it's still true. Definitely one, if not the most insecure superstar in NBA history. That's all fair. And again, I like KD, and that's all fair. Lugos says, who's your favorite Roman emperor? I'm not good on Roman history. I'm really not. I would be a bad one to ask on that. I wouldn't have anything interesting to give you. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Oh, Jill says she's 11 years old now, but I kept boring her. Yeah, I would say, video games and movies were always a good, go-to for us. Philip says, bit of Canadian news. Trudeau's gone on vacation to Costa Rica. Oh, good. Close the borders. Keep him out. Guy barely shows up to Parliament, skips question periods, spends more time outside the country, and he goes on vacation. Again, you know how I feel. I'm right with you on thoughts on Trudeau. Repugnant Tone says, do you think the Big Bang that created the universe was another dimension that collapsed in on itself and had to go somewhere? I don't know. It's fun stuff to think about. I don't know really what I think of the Big Bang. Do I think the existence of other dimensions is a possibility? Sure. I mean, there's a lot of you guys, we've had these conversations in the past. We can do a stream devoted to that stuff again if you want. I love talking about it. A lot of you guys are more well-versed in the ideas of multi-dimensional theories than I am. Could be. I don't know. There's just so many questions that need to be filled in around the Big Bang, but do I think it's a possibility? Well, sure. It's my favorite food. I usually go with Pizza Hunter because one of my favorite things to do is when we go somewhere new is I'll find a pizza place to just try their pizza. I just like trying different pizzas. So probably pizza. Big fan of burgers too. Yeah, I got real, highbrow, real highbrow taste. Yeah, probably pizza. Jordy Berg says, "Why are you bald?" Because I shave my head. That's an easy one. Zuchan says, "What is the funniest and worst experience you had with any animal that is not a dog?" Probably. I don't know about funniest and worst. I grew up, in the country around lots of different animals. I do remember I told you guys this story before. When I was a kid, I was 5 or 6. We had a bunch of chickens and kept them in a coop in the back. And chickens can be some mean bastards, especially the roosters. We had one rooster that was a psycho. And I went in to collect some eggs one day, and the rooster went nuts and attacked me and scraped me up and everything. And it wasn't the first time he'd done stuff like that. And so I went back in. I was crying and told my mom, "Oh, I got cuts." So my mom cleaned me up, and she goes, "You know what? That's it. I've had enough." She brings the 22 out to the backyard. That rooster's in behind the chicken wire. Comes right up at the chicken wire, coming at her and everything. I'll never forget, she put the barrel of the 22 through the chicken wire. And what I have to admit, even though that rooster was a dick, he was a defiant motherfucker. He went out as a badass. He clamped his mouth onto the barrel of the gun. My mom goes, "Perfect." And she squeezed the trigger, and we ate him for dinner. Wolverine says, "What does it take to become stream boss?" There you go. You answered your own question. Well done, Wolverine. Oh, Madman had it too, just until then. Jill says, "Curtis, as a dad like you, what was the reason you wanted a kid? Is parenthood what you expected?" Oh, it was the best ever. And well, I had 2 children by a prior marriage as well. But if we're talking about Brax, my wife and I wanted so desperately to have one child of our own, and she had gotten pregnant. We had set a time limit of if the pregnancy would take her into past her 40th birthday, we were going to stop trying. She had had a pregnancy early on, plenty of time, and it ended up being ectopic. So I was just crushed. And then we're within a couple months of not trying anymore, and she got pregnant with Brax, and it was the absolute best. Hunter says, "I love burgers and pizza, but the cheese on the pizza makes me have acne flare-ups." Yeah, and pizza is pretty much the only time I like cheese. And why I'd love to explain to you guys what the difference is between that and every other dish with cheese. I just don't know. Max is just curious about it. What is your opinion regarding the horror genre? I'm in for any genre. See, for me, whether it's movies, TV, anime, whatever, it's not so much genre. I mean, there are certain genres that have had more within that realm that I like, but I don't care about genre. I just care about story. Right now, my wife and I just started watching Stranger Things. I didn't realize it was as scary as it is because my wife hates scary stuff. So she's been watching a lot of it with a pillow over her face, peeking out of the corners. I'm not sure how that helps, but that's how she's been watching a lot of it. And it's really well done. I'm not a horror fan per se, in the respect it's not my favorite thing, but this is just so well written that it's fascinating to me. Genres don't matter. If it's good, I'll watch it. The best horror is seeing yourself in the mirror, Alethea says. Well, I mean, I don't know that's the best horror, but it's a horror. She doesn't do the Batman like Spaz Kid No Big Green, because his was obviously the Batman was more like this. Hers is just face right into pillow, and then it just gets skewed to the side a little bit. Stranger Things has been really good, Johnny. I've really enjoyed it. We're only like 7 episodes in, but I've really enjoyed it. It's been really good. Hi, Johnny. Welcome to the SDM. The size doesn't matter. Good to have you. Yes, I have seen a tornado, and believe it or not, Hunter, the weird thing about it is, we're living down in the the Southwest as I did. It wasn't there that I saw it. It was when I lived in New York. We had a tornado come through one time. It was right in the area, and I've always wanted to see one. So I went out like an idiot, storm chasing, and chased it down. I still remember Route 5S in Montgomery County, and chased it down and got to see one there. Yeah. I just missed a couple while in the Southwest. You know, they would come through, but not close enough for me to have seen them. Visual FX guy says, is mayonnaise an instrument of disgust, an instrument of evil, of vileness? Lethea says, I've seen 2 tornadoes. Super fascinating, even though I live in Europe. Yeah, it was fascinating. It was cool. It was really, really cool. Silent Liz says, hi, just arrived. How are you right now? Doing good. Doing very good. Repugnant Tone says, if anything is only drama, I'm out. It always needs to have something else to offer. I think that's kind of fair. I think the best dramas have at least good quality comedy relief, at the very least. Have you seen Higurashi? Yeah, because it's being sponsored right now. Gimster sponsors that for us over at the Goose. She's been sponsoring it for a couple of years now. We're well into it. And it is so freaky, but so well done. That one struck me. Certain things when you watch them, I'm sure you guys are the same way. Certain things have a feel to them that really gets you in the mood. Higurashi is one of those for me. I don't know if it's the constant, what is it, the cicadas, that sound you hear in the background all the time while watching that. That's part of it. The way it started, I thought was really creepy with those scenes in the dump. For some reason, that was just visually unsettling to me. Good show. Jeff Fire says, I remember I was at an intersection, creeping out to make a left turn. A truck ran the red light, sped past right in front of me, skidded and hit a student. Oh, had I creeped out just a little faster? Yeah, that's terrifying, shit like that. It makes you think. It's like so many times, just the same thing that happened with me on that road in Northern California. So many times the difference between getting up the next morning and continuing on and having it all be over is, this much. It's fucking freaky. Really freaky. Hunter says that earlier this year, a tornado went through the town I live in, Pembroke, Georgia. There are videos of it. Yeah, they're creepy. They are just so creepy. Yeah, that was fun, the one I got to see. Visual FX guy says, what is your favorite Family Guy cutaway? Oh, I don't know. I mean, how many of those have we watched just in the reaction videos alone? To know one individual cutaway is the best of all of them, I have no idea. Johnny says, I heard being in the SDM makes you irresistible to women. I've heard that too. Oh, that's right. I said it. That's why I heard it. I don't know that it's true. I just said it. Jill says, what does your bed look like? I don't know what you mean by look like. Do you actually use layers? I don't know what it's called. Our bed, what our bed looks like right now will shock you. It looks like a Disney paradise, just because when my wife and I get up in the morning, we just make the bed. And then we have two big pillows on each side, that we put in just for the look of it. And then down in front on our bed, because it has to have something Disney, there's a little square pillow that has some sayings from the movie Up. And then in front of them are a stuffed sleeping Minnie and Mickey Mouse that their heads come right together at the end of the bed. So everything else in our house, it has to have a heavy Disney Disney overtone. Once we get, and we're still working on it, once we get the house, everything pretty much set up how we want. I'm going to do a house tour with you guys and you'll see it all. Cryptic Teddy says, will you ever react to more SML videos? It's possible. It's not likely, just because, again, I try and pay attention to what people seem to enjoy. There were just people didn't really take to them a lot. Raynor says, will Disney make me gay now? Are the rumors true? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Lethea says, wait, can that turn me hetero then? You would assume. If it goes one way, it's got to be able to go the other, right? That's a good question, White Lightning. Favorite non-Luffy Straw Hat? Yeah, because One Piece is one of the rare occasions where my favorite character is the main character. Oh, boy, that's tough, though. That's a tough one, White Lightning. Once you get past Luffy, there's so many characters I love in that show. Oh, man. I'm just trying to run all the characters through my head as best I can here. Zoro has moved so far up my list. I mean, especially with that, right from that was earlier on, but right from that nothing happened moment. And you guys know how high, of course, Nico Robin is on my waifu list. It's probably, I hate to just keep picking the top of the leaderboard there for characters, but it's probably Zoro. Zoro started out when I watched the clips before I started watching One Piece, when you guys were showing me the clips. Zoro started out as my favorite because I liked all the bleeding. So it'd probably be him after Luffy. Kaz says, about Roman emperors, I remember a story about Caligula where he was at a dinner, started to randomly laugh, and when he was asked why, he said, I just realized I could have all of your throats cut. Yikes! That sounds like a Caligula story right there. And with all the debauchery and sexual deviancy and everything, it seemed like a fun guy. But again, I don't know much about the Roman Empire, but the little bit I do know of the history of Caligula, that's not a shocker right there. Hey, Lude! Welcome to the SDM. Good to have you, pal. Zeke says, favorite warlord of the sea, excluding Jimbei. That's a tough one, Zeke, because, again, I'd have to go through the current list again, because I'll leave somebody out. See, those are the ones that I'm not afraid to name a favorite, but I won't have everybody in mind. I'll name one and it'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot about so-and-so. Yeah, what I'd have to do for I can answer that for you is I'd have to go through the list of them to give you a good response there. Milog makes a good point. Buggy the Clown is the greatest, clearly. Hey, Wolverine, also in the SDM. Good to have you, pal. As I said, for you guys just joining, there's a thread for, I reposted it again. And once a week I post a thread so you guys can suggest reaction videos. Yeah, I'd really have to look at the list again. Croc was cool. Crocodile Zeke, yeah. He's a good character. It could even be him. If I look through the list, it could be. Jill says, if you went time travel to the past and met your past self, what would you say to him? Would you warn him of the mistakes you did from your current timeline? That's interesting. I can say I don't have a lot of regrets in life. I would probably tell him to make good financial decisions. Early on in my life, I used to make some terrible financial decisions. Be smarter with your money. But I would largely want to stay out of it. I mean, I've lived my life to where I told you guys that's how I ended up in so many different things. If there was anything I wanted to try, any adventure I wanted to seek in life, I've done it. And I'm very glad that I did that. It served me well. It's made me happy. So I don't think I would get too awful involved outside of that. Barry says, "Are you, YTPs considered suggestions or shit posts?" They can be both. Yeah. Johnny says, Caligula sounds like my kind of leader. I'd follow that guy anywhere. So I mean, come on, it's going to be a party. There's going to be some fun times when Caligula's on the scene. I don't know, Real Crib, but you're right. He says, why do you think the quality of NBA centers dropped after the 90s until the past few years with Embiid, Jokic? Um, I all I can say is the game was more big man centric then. I think it just seems like the athletes became even more ridiculous, or I should say this: the ridiculous athletes became more plentiful, which led to a different type of game than just, the man down low taking control of everything. I don't know, but you're right. I mean, it used to be prior to that, the 90s and before even, it was all about the big man. It was all about Bill Russell, and it was all about Wilt Chamberlain. It was all about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's the way it was. But yes, it definitely changed significantly. I don't. I think it's just the athleticism. I believe. Yeah, Barry says, if I could tell my past self one thing, it would be take the back roads to Texas Roadhouse. That's fair. Lute says, if you had to name your channel something else than what you did, what would it be? Did you already consider other names for making it? No, I never really did because, well, initially, Lute, it was Curtis the Spaz Gamer. And that was just because, obviously, I was terrible at gaming, and that was the idea. That's why we started this channel, was because it was back in the days when everything was a Call of Duty video. That was dominant. And all the players, the big name, the big video makers were aces at the game. So I thought it'd be funny for somebody who sucked at the game to play. So I never really considered anything else. And then as Brax came on with me and we started doing things besides Call of Duty, and everything we wanted to do, we wanted to make people laugh. So then it became Spaz Boys Comedy. Because I was Curtis the Spaz Gamer. Early on, when Brax came on the videos with me, the gang there started calling him Spaz Kid as a natural, progression there. So that's where the two names came from. And I never really considered anything else. Code says, I'm not sure if the quality declined is just the modern bigs in NBA can almost play all positions now, but I'll take Shaq over any bigs in modern NBA. True, Code. And like I say, I do think the game has changed a little bit too. It's just moved away from your go-to always being to get it to your big man down low and just let him take over, underneath the basket. I just, that seemed to have been more of the game is on the line, what are we going to do type thing pre-90s. And now it's, you got guys like Steph Curry who, excuse me, can hit shots from different counties. So it's kind of changed the game. Joe Kick is my favorite big man. The dude is fucking phenomenal. His athleticism is nuts. Oh, look at Greek Freak. Look at Giannis. Jeez. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Zuchen says, top tip, if your wife says, what would you most like to do to my body? Identify it as the wrong answer. Jill says, Curtis, my BFF, like she doesn't trust me anymore. How to gain her trust back? I don't know. That's impossible to say, Jill, because I obviously I don't know what transpired. But I would think no matter what it was, the opening salvo or the things you have to do first are just get communicating, and trying to get to the bottom of whatever went on. Kaz says, fun fact, Caligula falsely claimed that his great-grandfather Augustus slept with his daughter because Caligula thought it was less shameful to be a product of incest than having commoner roots. Really? You got some good good facts on that stuff, Kaz. Yeah, Caligula does seem like it. I mean, they made the movie Caligula, and that was a fun time. But if they were to do, and they probably have, I just haven't caught it, I would definitely watch a documentary about Caligula, without a doubt. Because the movie Caligula was kind of a documentary if you think about it. All right, guys, I got to go. Hey, thanks for the stream. As always, the questions were phenomenal. Thanks to all the channel members. Thanks to all our new channel members. And again, there are posts where you can suggest reaction videos, posts where you can suggest perks for us to come up with at the channel because I'll be working on them more and more as we go. But thank you guys for the conversation. This was really, really fun. I always have a good time. That's why I do these so regularly, these Ask Me Anything. Because not only are the questions fun, but the conversations that spring up are always a good time too. And I appreciate you guys for that. This has been a really good time. Hopefully I'll be able to stream most of the days the rest of the week, unless something goes wrong. But thanks again for all the fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will talk to you guys as soon as I can.